Hi everybody, I hope that you're having a good week so far. This is week number 7 of our 52-week series to chase good health. Last week, my apologies, I did not film the video until Thursday because my daughter Ellen and I both got sick with the type A flu. So we stayed home for a few days. We do not take the flu shot at our house. We do not take antiviral things like Tamiflu. And I didn't even give us Tylenol. I sort of had our body just do kind of the ultimate fight. And while that's hard, it's generally over really quick. So I'm not advocating that anybody else do that. I was just sort of sharing my story. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I had the flu. We were both in an indoor swimming pool for the weekend, and I don't know if it was sort of circulating there or what, but no one else in my family got sick. It was just the two of us. So my apologies that last week of 52 weeks of Chasing Good Health was slightly delayed. I hope that you are practicing 10,000 steps. I am going to be super honest. I have done it 4 times. So I did it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I did not do it yesterday. I don't think it's going to be one of those things for me personally that I'm able to do every day, but I can absolutely tell you this. I feel better when I do. So I have started making a practice to try and find a friend to do it with me, hopefully a different friend that I can visit with. And I've also found that for me personally, it works best after the dinner hour, which is a crazy time to exercise. Again, I'm not advocating that this would be your time to do your 10,000 steps, but you know, it works good for me. I sort of get, I get dinner made, we have dinner, I get Denny, who's my youngest little guy, to bed, and then, because he goes to bed around 8, and then I go around 8 o'clock. So I don't know that I'm going to stick with this forever, but that's worked so far. So I would love to hear if you are doing the 10,000 steps and then how you're doing it, because if you have an idea, I would love to hear it, because it's something that I want to do, just incorporating it. I'm just trying to figure out how. This week, we're going to be focused on cow's dairy. And hey, Mandy, I just saw that you were watching live. And if you are watching this later, of course, this is recorded, so you can ask a question if you need to, and we'll come back in and answer it for you. Also, one quick thing before I get into it, if you know a friend who's recently joined the juice ritual and they're not participating in the 52 weeks of Chasing Good Health, help them out and sort of get them started. If they need to connect to me, I want to make sure that I do go through with everybody how to start, because this is super important. To me, this part of our work is just as important as doing our monthly juice ritual. It's just as important. So if you're missing out on this part and you're not doing the work and putting in the work for this part, then in my opinion, you're really missing a big part of it, because this is really a good thing. When you combine 52 healthy Chasing Good Health habits to your life, even if you applied only half of them, because I'm not suggesting that each one of them is going to really land for you and feel good for you. Remember, you are going to be the expert in Chasing Good Health for you. I'm just here to help guide you. So I'm not suggesting that all of our 52 things are going to feel really good for you, but if half of them do, then you have 25 more things to do that are going to help you chase good health instead of simply waiting on disease to find us, because I really believe it's one or the other. So if you do know somebody who's recently joined and is not taking advantage of this, I would love to help them. And I'm happy to help them personally, as I'm happy to help any of you guys that are a part of this. So week number 7 is cow's dairy. And the title, if you've had a chance to print it out, is Dairy Friend or Foe. And I'm going to generally take the position that dairy is a foe. And the reason I'm going to take that position is it is a foe for me personally. And I feel much better when I do not include cow's dairy in my diet, much better. And I think most of us do. However, we are all individuals. We all have different bio-individuality, which means that what works for me doesn't necessarily work best for you. There are some common truths, right? We need to eat whole nutrition, and sort of some common things that exist across everybody. But some of you guys might be able to include cow's dairy in your diet and in your nutrition and not have an adverse, effect. Some of you. I think that would be very few, just based on the general consensus in the medical community. So if you are someone who's enjoying dairy, you do not have gas or bloating, you don't feel like it gives you brain fog, you have great elimination, you have beautiful glowing skin, you don't have any of that sort of stuff, then dairy may be okay for you. But for most people, it's not. For most of us, it's very sticky. It's gluey, it's sticky, and it's generally not something, it's mucus forming in the body, so generally something that as a chasing good health person, we would avoid. I also I'm a big, huge fan, as you guys know, of birds of a feather, this concept of birds of a feather. So generally speaking, surrounding ourselves with people that kind of have the same goal, mission, studying the same things. So I would offer this. Dr. Stephen Cabral is one of my most sort of revered teachers in this work. I work with him every month. He guides sort of my work inside the Juice Ritual and inside Chasing Good Health. He is my business mentor and a friend. I trust his work, and I think it is evident that his practice is really growing. He says no to the cow's dairy. Absolutely not. Dr. Amy Coleman is also a friend of mine. She's a classically trained medical doctor, was a flight surgeon in the armed services for years, personal physician to 5-star generals, now doing an integrative practice. She says 0 to the cow's dairy, not a good idea. A person that I love, Dr. Frank Lipman. I don't know if I've shared this book with you guys before, but it is one of my favorites, How to Be Well. It's one of the best books I've written. I love his writing style. I love how easy it is. It's similar to Chasing Good Health, super easy concepts. He says, generally speaking, a no to cow's dairy. Dr. Jillian McKee, no to cow's dairy. She wrote a book, You Are What You Eat. So generally speaking, the consensus of cow's dairy is that it is not a friend, but it is a foe. However, again, I'm a huge proponent of helping you become an expert in chasing good health for you, because you are always going to be the best expert at that. So if you are buying organic cow's dairy, you are making sure that the animals are grass fed, that you are consuming cheese or dairy raw when you can, i.e. not pasteurized, which makes it even stickier. That can be hard to find though. You have to really look around for a grocer that will still sell raw dairy products, because most do not. So for most of us, dairy is a foe. Certainly for me, I do not include cow's dairy in my diet. Does that mean that I never include it? The answer to that is no. One of my most favorite things is Mexican food, and I absolutely love the disgusting queso that's there. I just love it with salsa. So if I do go to Mexican, that would be a time where I might decide to have cow's dairy. However, I know instantly it was a bad choice, but it's still worth it. And so, I think using it, even if you decide cow's dairy is not for you, I think putting it into your diet every now and again is certainly okay, but it's something that I can feel instantly. So one of the things that I want you to kind of think about for this week, we are gonna all try on the possibility of an elimination diet and taking out dairy from our diet. I would like for you to experiment with that. So if you're a cheese lover, if you're a yogurt lover, you can spend the next 7 days without it, because I think it's a great way to just look inside and say, wow, do I notice any differences? And I want us to actually track what those differences might be on our weekly tracking sheet. Again, for you guys that are not doing this, I would love for you to do it, because when you go back and look at some of these things, also what we write down kind of sticks with us. It's another reinforcement, because my goal for you is that these things become practices, and we are going to get out of something what we put in it. So I want you to actually track how you feel each day when you take cow's dairy out. You can also then, if you decide to put it back in, you can come back to this, and then you're gonna actually be able to see, it's sometimes hard to remember, but if we have it in a concrete format, we can actually see, oh my gosh, I woke up, I felt better, I slept better, my skin is clear, my skin is glowing. You guys, we should all have really youthful, glowing skin. If we are chasing good health and doing all the things we need to do, we shouldn't be battling, lots of skin issues and eruptions. So you can go back and actually look and see. So, cow's dairy, to be fair, to those of you who dairy is a friend, meaning you don't have any problems digesting it, you don't feel like it's adversely affecting your health, my tips would be to make sure that you are getting certified organic cow's dairy, that you, whenever possible, make sure that the animal is grass-fed, because that way you're going to avoid the sort of burst of hormones going into our animals. 80% of the antibiotics made in the U.S. go to our livestock. It's just, generally speaking, a bad idea. So certified organic, they were grass-fed, hopefully from a smaller farm, hopefully from somebody hopefully it can be raw, and those would really elevate your dairy choices, as opposed to going to a large supermarket buying whatever is available. And there are also some things that you can do. Google sort of like some cashew dips that you can make that are very dairy-esque. If you love cheese, you can use a product called nutritional yeast. Comes in like a kind of like it would be in your salt, pepper, condiment aisle, that sort of thing. And you can put it on popcorn, you can put it on roasted veggies, and it's going to give them a cheesy flavor. It's actually amazing. It's one of my favorite things. So nutritional yeast, it's yellow, comes in a shaker, much like salt. So try out nutritional yeast on your popcorn with some coconut oil, and you can thank me later. Popcorn's another one that is a trigger for me, but I absolutely love it. So I just have to do it from time to time. But anyway, try nutritional yeast on a pan of roasted veggies with some sea salt and some coconut oil, and it's absolutely amazing. So there are lots of choices that you can make that are dairy-esque, right? Sort of taste and give you that same taste sensation as dairy. But if you are going to include it, try and remember those things. For us this week, most of us are going to give up dairy for the week, right? So if you've even not noticed anything, I would love to know how you feel after not including it for 7 days. So typically speaking, again, cow's dairy is a huge inflammatory food for the body. It is one of the things that they ask you if you are going to undergo an elimination diet. I promise you, it's number one on the list to get rid of. Soy, dairy, those kinds of things always come first because they are inflaming to so many people. So I do think for most of us, it's going to be a health elevation. For those of us who love cheese and have no problems, great. Again, we are all individuals. We all have bio-individuality, which means what works for me might not be best for you. And that, folks, is why I'm really intentional about helping you become the expert in chasing good health, because the wellness and sort of health space has become really nebulous, crowded, confusing, and I want you to be the own expert in chasing good health, and that for you. And that's why doing some of this work is really important, because that's how you become the expert. So give up cow's dairy for the next week. Track it on your sheet. How are you feeling? How does it impact your sleep, your energy, your general complexion, sort of your outward glow? How does it affect your elimination? How do you feel after eating? Did it cut down on any bloating or gas? All of those things would be an indicator for you that cow's dairy might be a foe. Again, I don't want to say that you have to get rid of it entirely if it's working for you, but this is a biggie, and we're going to talk about some other biggies throughout this year, and we're going to do this again with some other food groups that I want us to take out, try on, see how it feels, because again, I want you have to be willing to do some experimental work if you're really about chasing good health. You can't just say what works for me, works for you, works for you, works for you. You have to really be able to put in the work. What you put into something is exactly what you put out of something, and I mean, folks, we have to be about chasing good health. We have to. There is no other way. People that are really about chasing good health have so much. I don't want you to think this is about being scarce, right? We have so much. We have health, we have vitality. We feel better with every passing year versus worse. We have a youthful countenance at whatever age we are because we are chasing good health. So we wake up feeling amazing. That's what we're about, right? We don't want to be about fixing disease that's found us. We want to be about keeping ourselves on such a healthy trajectory that disease really can't find place in our body. Our bodies are not good hosts or not good residences for disease to take place, because we have been chasing good health and doing all of these things. So again, super important that we try it on. I'd love to hear from any of you guys on your take of cow's dairy. If it works for you, I would love to hear that too, because I think that's good for everybody to hear a different perspective. My take on cow's dairy, it's a faux. I would love to see how you feel after. And as always, I do want your feedback on this program. If there are topics and things that you want to see, I will make sure that they are included in 52 Weeks of Chasing Good Health. We still have a lot of 40 some weeks left to go through. So I'll make sure that a topic that you are interested in gets included in our curriculum, because that's what it's about, right? We want to be a community of people doing this together. I hope that everybody has a great week. I also want to hear about your 10,000 steps, because that's one that I'm really interested in doing. Not something that I did a lot of before, but I want, I might walk 3,000 steps, let's say, but now that I'm super intentional about getting to 10,000, I would love to hear how you guys are doing it as well. And as always, I hope you have a super healthy week. We'll be getting ready for the next juice ritual. It's coming around soon, and so we'll be touching base about that as well. Everybody have a wonderful day.